Hello, everyone. I want to talk about um, politics and whether, as Christians, we have a right to speak to politicians in Ghana. I know the Constitution grants everyone the right to speak. In other words, freedom of speech is accorded every Ghanaian. It does not exclude Christians. So Christians have a right to speak about issues in the country. So who are Christians? Christians are followers of Jesus Christ. And who is Jesus Christ? John chapter 1 tells us that in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. It goes on further to tell us that through Him, Jesus Christ, all things came into being. And without Him, nothing exists. So the gold in the ground, the oil in the ground, the diamonds in the ground, everything else that exists came into being through Jesus. The gold in the ground does not belong to the politician. The oil doesn't belong to politicians. Everything else in the country belongs to Jesus Christ. And as Christians, we have a say as to how these are managed. Now, we live in a country where people adopt a way of educating themselves. People learn to forget. They don't memorize content. They read or they chew and pour. What that means is a student learns not to retain the information. He learns so he could pass his exam. And after that, he forgets everything else he learned. And this has been going on for decades. I went to school myself in Ghana, and I know what I'm talking about. So currently, you have people occupying positions who have done the same thing. They've learned to pass their exams. I'm not saying everyone. Very few people may have done that. But I can tell you that the system is broken because people who went to school, who got educated in Ghana, who did their best to pass their exams, aren't doing anything to fix, the problems faced by Ghanaians because they have lost their knowledge. They don't know what to do. The same applies to the Constitution. They read and forget what it says. So you have politicians who believe the church shouldn't be, talking about political issues. They should stay in their little corner with their Jesus. But that's not who we are. Christians are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. Let me tell you what the Bible says Christians shouldn't do. We're told not to fellowship with an immoral brother. But for people like politicians who are not Christians, we are to engage them. We are to engage the unbelievers. We are not to despise them. We have to speak to them because we are their light. We are their salt. We need to preach the gospel to them so they could come to the saving knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And when you're saved, you go straight. You put things right. Our current president, Nana Akufo-Addo, he's a Christian. Now you can see his good deeds are speaking for him. And we should throw our weight behind him. Recently, Bishop Ajinasari criticize the way the economy was managed in the past, and probably, I don't think it's being mismanaged today, but in the past, governments bought vehicles which are now sitting in a car park and they are the mercy of the elements. He talked about that. These vehicles could have been given to government officials to use, or even MPs to use, but they aren't, being given out. He talked about flats which have been built and no one is living in them, and someone is outraged because he came out to say these things. These are facts. So if you are not managing the economy and someone is criticizing you for that, what makes you think the person shouldn't say them? What makes you think the person shouldn't talk about these things which aren't being fixed? There are people sleeping rough who need somewhere to sleep. Why aren't you giving these flats out to people to occupy them? And nobody should talk about it? Someone spoke about that and you are outraged. I believe some of you politicians who have read the Constitution have forgotten about what it says, that every Ghanaian has the freedom to speak. It doesn't accord us the right to abuse people verbally. And no politician has the right to abuse anybody verbally, because when you abuse somebody, you injure their feelings. And they are entitled to compensation. And so you could be dragged to court to pay some money, to compensate the person. The law doesn't allow anyone to abuse anyone. So let's get that straight. But to criticize, the law allows us to. I told you earlier who put the oil in the ground, that Jesus did. And why did he put it there? Because he knew people would be in need. So he put these things there for somebody to manage them properly for the benefit of all. So the politician is there to manage the resources. If you don't, guess who judges you in the end? Jesus said, "The Father judges no one. My Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son." So Jesus Christ, whom we are following, is going to judge you for mismanaging the economy, for, I don't want to say looting, because I don't know who has looted and who hasn't. But in Africa, it's all evident. People go into power and they don't fix the problems that we face. Christians, if you tell us to live in our little corner without Jesus, don't forget, we are not living in heaven, where the streets are paved with gold. We are right here on earth. And the streets in Ghana, most of the streets in Ghana have potholes in them. So we have real issues, we have problems. And nobody wants to drive his vehicle on such streets. We want to have the freedom to move about. Even the blind man wants to walk about, not, afraid of trips and falls. You need to fix these problems, and you're telling Christians not to talk. What you're doing, trying to shut Christians up, is illegal. And you need to go back to the Constitution and read it. Don't you and Paul. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Before you became a politician, or before you got into power, you solicited for vote. You went around begging people to vote for you. And in some cases, you paid out money to buy vote. But be aware that you did not buy everybody. You did not pay money to Ajinasari, you didn't pay money to me. And so we still have our rights to speak. Those to whom you gave money may have sold their rights to speak, may have sold their right to criticize you, but we haven't. We still have our rights intact. We have a right to speak. And when things are not going well, we've got to tell you. The Bible tells us not to fellowship with an immoral brother, and that one I'll be clear on it. But it tells us to engage with the unbeliever. So if you think Christians don't have a say in what goes on in the country, you're wrong. We have a right to engage you. We have a right to talk to you because we are your light. We have to correct you. If we don't, we become, you will not benefit from that. You see, the Bible puts it this way: if we lose our saltiness, men will trample us underfoot. And for us to be relevant in the society, we've got to speak up. We've got to correct you. We are your light, I told you earlier. So it's very important for us to speak up and not shut up. And don't try to shut us up, because we won't shut up. We've not taken money from you. So we have everything intact. And we've got to be that light Jesus wants us to be. We've got to correct you. Put the resources together, use them for the benefit of all. So even the man who is on a low income could get some income support. The white people do it. Why can't African countries do the same? The unemployed don't have anything, and the only job you've given them is political campaigning. They should go around and campaign for you, so you want to be in power for as long as possible. Let me tell you, political power is only temporary. Because 4 years, you're out of power, you're out of work, and you have to find another job. And you guys know well that, very soon I'm going to come out of politics, or I might not win the election or whatever. And so let me take all that I possibly can. So when I'm out of power, I could have enough money stored for me for the rest of my years. Now, let me tell you about a rich man in the Bible. He amassed so much wealth, and he said to his soul, "Oh, my soul, now relax. You have a big barn. You're going to enjoy for the rest of your life." And God said, "You fool, tonight I'm going to require your soul of you, and we'll see who takes whatever you've stored up for yourself." And there was also this rich man in Lazarus' parable Jesus talked about. You see, the rich man had acquired so much wealth. He spent it with his own cronies and enjoyed life. Lazarus had nothing. He died Lazarus died and went to heaven. The rich man went to hell. He went to hell. Probably the resources God put in the ground, all his wealth came from that, and he never shared with anybody. So I'm telling you, that applies to you too, who think that the resources in Ghana are meant for the politicians, so you go and help yourself with them. I'm telling you, the Christian Jesus, he's going to judge you because he knew the resources he put down there were for the benefit of everyone. But you amassed wealth, you kept all to yourself because you thought the resources belonged to politicians. The fact Christians don't know how much money the government has does not mean God does not know. He knows how much money the government has. So be aware that we have the freedom to speak. We have the freedom to criticize. We have no right to abuse anyone verbally. And so allow us to speak. And you go back and read the Constitution and let it work. We can build Ghana properly if we allow the law to work. Now, you guys out there travel to Dubai and other places to take selfies because they've made those places attractive to visitors. You go there. You don't travel to Mali, you don't go to these places because you can't take selfies there. Make Accra, make Ghana a habitable place. Make it beautiful. You want Ghana to be known worldwide, but you've got to make the place attractive. Build the city. Rebuild Jamestown. The people there are poor. The job you gave them was campaigning, that's no job. Go and fix the place, rebuild the place, put the people back in those buildings. If you have the political will to rebuild the place, put them back in there and let them pay by installment so they could live in a decent homes in Jamestown. And also Makola. I visited Makola the last time I was in Accra, and the ground in the market was so bad. The politicians have overlooked so many things. You've neglected the country so much so that even the ground that needed some sort of concrete to make it easy for people to move about wasn't even there. You need to, be up on your game. Just solve the problems for the people. That's all people want. We all cannot be president. We all cannot be MPs. So when you're there, when we give you the power to rule, please fix the problems that we are all faced with. God bless you. Let's make Ghana a better place to live in. Bye. I'm Yaudi.